Today is August 17th, 2025. I'm up here at the Klamath River at the former Iron Gate Lake. I'm looking at the boat launch that goes right up above Ward's Canyon. That's where you can put in now. I was just down there. So that's what it's looking like from up here. This is kind of what this whole area is looking like today. It's a little green. I know that we've had some rains. We've definitely crossed some puddles in through on our way up. Looks like we've got some cattle out, which this is open range. Then you can see on the back side of the cattle, that would be like where Beaver Creek is, where all of the machinery is and the trees that you see off there in the distance. We're going to make our way that direction. But just so you guys can see that this is what the area is looking like today. My son's kind of coming and going. And you can see that gravel bar where we were at the previous video, where it goes around that gravel bar. And in that entrance is where Ward's Canyon is. We've come down the road a bit. We're almost past the springs. It is open range here, so there are cows out here. Not quite to what I call East Beaver Creek. That would be looking back towards, that is the Klamath River. And that is a seasonal creek. I don't believe it's flowing right now. Looks like they might have an outhouse down there by the river where they're working. Sorry, it's a little bumpy as we're driving in the car. So we're coming around to Beaver Creek, and I can already see that they've got an excavator out here and a big dump truck. And you can see farther down, they've got some more equipment. So I'll be curious to see what they're doing in Beaver Creek today. Or I shouldn't say today, what they're doing in Beaver Creek in general. So come around the bend, and that's looking down Beaver Creek. Looks like they've been moving some sediment in this area too. This wasn't here before, down here where this excavator is. Gonna stop. So I got out of the car for a second. This is kind of what this whole area is looking like. The green areas where the what little bit of water there is. We just talked to some people and they said it downpoured pretty good up here last night. They got a lot of rain. So you can see that they're moving dirt around up here too. All the dark stuff would be the newer dirt that they've moved around. I can't tell if it's actually flowing. I'll come back over here and I'll zoom in where I can see the water. I can see that there's some water in there, but I can't tell if it's really flowing. But then again, like he said, if we got a bunch of rain last night, that's possible why there could be some rain in a lot of the areas we've seen today, or more water than normal. But you can see where they've moved the sediment. The dark area is what they've moved. So I'm going to pause it and go on down around the bend. So this is just a little further up Beaver Creek. They're doing some major work up here. They've got it, you can see that they've got it all staked out. up there, so I'm not sure what the plan is. But they've definitely moved out a lot of material in here. A lot of material. So we'll go on down around the bend. And I'm sure you can see there's some orange stakes. Kind of, you can sort of see them up above the dump truck there. And right there. So I'm not sure what they're doing there or what the stakes are for. And this is kind of what it looks like down that area. So anyways, we'll continue on around the bend and we should be able to see this better on the other side. So I come down a road that's looking down Beaver Creek, East Beaver Creek. And so they're definitely doing a lot of digging here. There is some water. I can kind of see it there through the trees. I can kind of hear it flowing. Yeah, I can see it over on the other side. So the creek is actually flowing right over there. And this is the head of East Beaver Creek. We're going to make our way around to the other side. We could probably see it better. I'm sure the water's probably pretty cold. Looks like it's got a lot of water skippers on it. So this is what it's looking like on this side. And this is where it drains down from. So this is what Beaver Creek is looking like. It looks like they must have cut some of the vegetation down, because as I'm looking the last time we were up here, these weeds right here, whatever those were a lot taller. And it looks like on both sides they've been chopped down. They're not as tall as they used to be. Looks like the tops of them have been cut off. So we just come down from the culvert. So that would be looking up towards where the culvert is. You can see that they have the mesh across there for whatever fish might be up there. And then you can tell that this is kind of where they're starting their work, as all the ground is all roughed up, I guess you could say. You could tell that they've been working in it, and all their posts start right here. There's one right there that's got a pink flag on it. So this is kind of where they're starting all their work at on East Beaver Creek. We'll have to go down around the bend here so you can see it better. I'm kind of fighting with the trees right here. But this is kind of where all the work, how far up Beaver Creek that they're coming. So I just came around the corner. This is that area that I was just looking at where they're starting to do work. And this is kind of what this little area right here is already looking like. You can see right where they're crossing Beaver Creek at. You can see the tracks in there. I'm not sure what they're doing with all the wood pieces. They're standing straight up. Not sure if there were trees there and they cut them down or if they just stuck them in like that. But I'm going to go on around the corner. So I come down the road just a little bit. And you can see they got some more of those wood posts in the ground. Like I said, I'm not sure what those are for, if that's where they want the creek to go. But there is a lot of wetness down there. Like we heard that it poured pretty good up here last night. I'm not sure what they're going to do with that big log right there. Kind of walk up just a little bit, show you kind of what this whole area is looking like. Then we'll just drive down the road just a short distance. That's what it's looking like from here. A lot of work going on up here. So as I'm standing here, my friend pointed out that if you look down there close enough, you can see some orange circles that are painted in the dirt. I'm not quite sure why they would have orange circles painted in the dirt. And then if you look up just a little bit, let me find the post. So where that post is, the pink ribbon, you will notice on the ground there is pink stripes. I'm not sure what that means. Then, as the sun is coming out, oh, sorry, I'll zoom it out so it's not all blurry. You can see some more orange circles where all that water is. There's one right there in the middle of the mud. I'm not quite sure what the painted orange circles are either. It's handy when the sun comes out, you can see a lot more. And then as I zoom up, they've got more of those orange circles up there. So I'm not sure what the purpose of the orange circles are and the pink lines. It's interesting. It looks like if I look over on the other side, I can see some over there too. In that area, there's like a circle of some sort. I can see it right there next to that white shiny log. And if you look, it's hard to tell in the camera. There is some more out over in that direction as well. So I'm not sure what the orange circles and the pink stripes mean. But I'm going to pause it and head down the road. So we're here at one of the work sites, still at East Beaver Creek. We just come down the road, just a short little section here, spot. I'm not quite sure what those timbers are for. But they got more right here. Just going to pop off over here on the edge just to kind of see what things look like down here. There is nothing that says no trespassing. I've yet to see a sign over on the Copco side, except for up above the road over on that side. Just that hillside is no trespassing. So this is kind of what it's looking like from here. And there's some water flow right there. It looks like they cross right there. This is what it's looking like upstream Beaver Creek, East Beaver Creek. That's where we were just looking at, where they had all those circles and lines up there. I've seen them over on the other side over there as well, where those logs are. Pan out so you can kind of get an idea what this whole area looks like. Definitely looks a lot different than it did a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago when we were here. Can hear something up on the hillside, not sure what it is. Sounds like something maybe bigger. Don't know if it's a deer. Although we have stopped and talked to some people today, and they've said that there's definitely not the deer or wildlife like there once was. I know it's opening season for buck season archery. So I know that there's been some hunters out and about up in some of these areas where you can hunt. And the people I'm hearing from are telling me that there's just not the critters here that there used to be. But this is kind of what this area is looking like. Probably not going to walk down any further than this. I think I got a squirrel over here to my right. Definitely seen a few squirrels up above the road. There's a few down in here too. So anyways, that's what this area is looking like. I see a lot of stakes down over in this area as well. All right, I'm going to pause it and head on down the road. So as I walk back up out of here, I thought I'd just kind of come show you what these are. Guess we'll find out exactly what they're going to be using them for. Not quite sure what they would be doing with these up here. It's kind of like those ones down there. And the other ones that I've seen. Anyways, it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing up here. Maybe that's what all the circles are for. Maybe they're going to put something in, build something, put a bridge in. I'm not sure. Just throwing some stuff out there. So this is still Beaver Creek. We're just up from where we were. You can see all the dirt that they're moving around out here. We're just down from where I was. That's what I was just looking at, all the dirt that they moved over there. Just looking down Beaver Creek. That would be looking north, or sorry, not north, west towards that access point at Ward's Canyon. We're coming up on where all the logs and more of the work is going on. Looks like they got some more of those beams down there as well that we just saw up at the other site. Not quite sure what it would be for. Something like that. Tells me a bridge or of some sort. I don't know why. I'm kind of just guessing. Some kind of a platform anyways. That's kind of looking towards the town of Copco and up and around that bend. You can see some green swaths in there. You can definitely tell which way the helicopter was going when it seeded this area. I'm going to pause it around the trees. If you look out there, you can still see an old fence that was there that was submerged underneath the lake. That would be looking east. So that's looking west towards the access, the Wards Canyon. Noticing some of these trees are also changing color. Just don't know if, like I said, if it's fall or just a lack of water. Not sure about the trees. Still trying to figure that one out, if it's a really early fall or if they're dying. Oh, what is that? That looks like a hawk, maybe? Just took off from the tree. That's the first hawk that we've seen. So that's looking east towards Copco. That would be looking south. I think our hawk is still flying around. He was actually dive bombing after. There he is. He was going after a dove, I think. It's the first hawk I've seen up here. I've only seen a handful of deer the whole day so far. I've only seen a couple osprey so far. Not sure where our hawk friend went. But there's a lot of dove up here. So we're making our way towards Copco. This is part of the Klamath River. That would be looking west. Like I've shown before, a lot of the old trees that were sunk underneath the lake are still around. They're not alive, but they're still around. That would be Mallard Cove that I'm looking at currently. That is the area also from when the dams were breached. That's the area where all the deer were found that got stuck in the mud and had to be euthanized. I'm going to pause it through all these trees. So this is looking to the west. It's kind of pretty right now with the cloud cover. We'll kind of zoom in. And way down there is the boat launch access point at Wards Canyon. And right over there where you see all the tree debris on top of that bench, that would be where Beaver Creek is. And where you see that bright shiny thing down there, that's where Beaver Creek comes in to the Klamath River. So that is looking west. That is looking south. And we're going to make our way on around. So that would be looking up Mallard's Cove. You can still see a lot of the cracks down in the sediment. down in the lake bottom. Could still see some of the old fences. So this would be looking towards the town of Copco. And that would be looking up Mallard Cove. That would be looking at Mallard Cove. That would be looking west. Sorry if it's a little bumpy. That would be kind of looking towards the town of Copco. So we're getting closer to Copco. And down there is like where the lake used to be. Where you see the green trees over on the other side, that used to be the lake line. This is looking east. Or sorry, looking west. We're almost to the town of Copco. So we're getting closer to the town of Copco. This would be looking west towards the Klamath River. And we're going to make our way. We're almost there. You want to go ahead and go? Looks like a lot of these trees are dying or turning already. A lot of them are, I'm not sure, could be dying. These trees don't look so good. But off over there is where the Klamath River is. This used to be part of the Lake of Copco. Pause it around the house. So I made it around the house. One of the houses anyways.